Hello and welcome to our fourth weekly special episode of Most Unwanted, an X-Files podcast. I'm Luke, and I am joined by Chex. And these episodes are basically our mini bios of characters in the X-Files. And today we'll be looking at Walter Skinner.
Yeah, well, we found out something about him just...
Well, yeah, as I pulled up the bio, I found out that his middle name is Sergey.
Which makes him even better in my eyes.
So, I mean, if that is a plot point, tell us some... Yeah, we won't look into that. Really. So Skinner is the assistant director in the FBI after serving in the Marine Corps since he was aged 18. So his jurisdiction has been the X-Files unit, as we found out. And I won't read any more because I feel like I'm going to spoil anything.
Yeah, probably best.
At the start of the series, what did you think of Skinner?
Skinner is a very interesting character because he is fast becoming my favourite, and I know I'm jumping ahead. Because at the start, he was just your average hard-ass.
I hated Skinner at the start, yeah. I think we both did. We both said, this guy, man.
He was a job's worth.
Yeah.
He was just there to sort of... He was the boss. He was the man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was that figure, and he was... You didn't really see much of him apart from him being a dick.
I think he was there initially. He was another part of this. We were finding out more about this alien conspiracy, but he was always standing in their way of trying to find out more. And at some point, you thought, is he in on this?
I think that was almost the intention to sort of send you that way, because he would go to special lengths to get in the way of the investigations. And you didn't really know why. All you knew was he was what we assumed working with Cigarette Smoking Man, because every time you saw him, Cigarette Smoking Man was in his ear.
Yeah, and he was always there around him, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, later on we find out that's not necessarily how he wanted it, but at the time it just looked like they was in cahoots with each other.
Yeah, it definitely felt like that anyway. And as I said, you couldn't really trust him, to be honest, initially. There was a lot of suspicion around him. But
I think he became the de facto face of the government.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting to see how that plays out, because we literally put that face on the government because he was the only person we know in that system. Yeah, and of course, if there is a big government conspiracy, not everyone is involved in it.
Yeah.
And as we later find out, Skinner not necessarily isn't.
Exactly. So now, after 49 episodes, what do you think of the character now?
I love Skinner. Yeah. And I will go on record every episode if I need to. I love this character. Yeah. He is a badass.
Yeah. He's so multifaceted because you get this... he's still the same guy that we met in episode 1. This hard-nosed business... he is the man, but he is completely willing to put his neck on the line in pursuit of the truth.
Yeah. More than anyone else.
Yeah.
Like, especially when it comes to Mulder and Scully, like, he will scold them and he will punish them when they don't do their job properly, as a boss should. It's an FBI, it's an important role. He needs to maintain order. But when the push comes to shove and he needs to get involved, he will.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about him, to the point where we've literally, and I hope there's more scenes like this in the future, but we've literally seen him take on X.
He headbutted a man
for Scully, and that's phenomenal, and it's brilliant. And he doesn't need to.
Yeah.
This is the thing about him. Whereas Mulder and Scully are driven by this sort of need to find something out, he's doing this for them.
Yeah.
Because... he doesn't need to. He can go back to his wife and take orders from Cigarette Smoking Man. Live a happily ever after. But he's not, because, keeping the theme going, Scully is having this pursuit for knowledge. Mulder is having this pursuit for truth. Mm-hmm. I think Skinner has got this just a pursuit for doing the right thing.
Yeah, he definitely...
It's a moral code.
He definitely feels like, especially when you find out his backstory, when he starts talking about it in I can't remember the episode, but where he's talking about his Marine Corps background in Vietnam.
And the things that happened to him.
Yeah, and I think that definitely changed him as a person to basically seek out the good and basically the right in the world after all that.
And how incredible was that episode? Yeah. Because you literally go from finding out why are guys like this, and it changes the entire way you think about him.
I think we both did a flip completely after that episode of where we were like, wow, it makes all the sense in the world as to why he is the way he is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I think from that episode going forward that there was such another layer to Skinner's character, and it seems to keep opening more as we get as we move on.
I hope that we just keep on seeing more and more, and he gets more and more involved. Because I really enjoy his character. Yeah. I just want to mention before we move on to the last question. I also want to mention his standing up to the cigarette smoking man.
Yes, yeah.
Because I thought that was pivotal in how we view the character as well. Because we then find out that it wasn't necessarily all happy between those two.
Yeah. It's sort of, there's basically like he has him in there just because he has to. And then he finally snapped, and threw him out, basically.
Yeah, which was perfect because, again, it just shows that he didn't do it to be anti-establishment. He did it because it was the right thing to do at the time.
Yeah.
And as far as a moral code goes, I think this guy is the quintessential sort of viewing point for this whole show.
Yeah.
Mulder will do some weird things in pursuit of what he wants. Scully tends to stick by the book, but when it comes to Mulder, she'll, break a few rules.
Yeah.
This guy will do whatever it takes to just do the right thing. And that's what I love about him.
Yeah.
I just think he's such a... And again, I'll say it again, it might not be the most intelligent way to put it, but he is a badass. He's such a badass.
Yeah.
You know what I think I like him as well? And this has just popped into my head now, and I'm just going to vamp. I think he's the guy we could all be. Like, we can't all be like the sort of the quirky agent that goes off and gets abducted by aliens.
Yeah.
But we can all be the guy in the office who tells his boss to piss off when it goes too far. Do you know what I mean? He's the everyman.
Everyone has that in them. Yeah. I see what you mean there.
He's the everyman to Mulder and Scully.
The Stone Cold of X-Files.
And we're saying all this. You watch at the season finale of season 2 when he starts flying through windows.
Yeah, well, wow. That took a weird turn. So I guess, where do we see Skinner going in the future? Where do we see him fitting into this universe?
Yeah, such a difficult question to answer, to be honest, because we've only really just started seeing who he actually is. But I think the one thing we can be sure of is he's going to play a bigger role in the X-Files.
Yeah, he's going to have a massive part.
And I'm not talking about the show, sorry. I'm talking about the actual division.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a massive part in this conspiracy. And I think he's going to get caught in something. I don't believe he's going to die in the show. I feel like he's going to be in trouble though. He's either going to be disbarred or I can't remember what the term is if he gets his license taken away from him basically, or he's going to be actively breaking the law, doing something to help Mulder and Scully. So I think he's going to go one step too far in doing the right thing basically, and it's going to cost him in some way, shape or form.
That would be a very interesting turn actually, because then you have to wonder, without the power that he holds in his position, would he continue? Do you think would still help Mulder and Scully?
Maybe if it affected his life drastically, maybe out of revenge. You know what I mean? So maybe it changes his character even more.
Yeah, that would be interesting because as like we've just said, the everyman of the show, maybe he would be more prone to sort of things like that, sort of just basic emotional responses.
I get the feeling he has a vengeful streak in him. If it takes on a dark turn, you know what I mean. And I don't think he'll do anything bad. You know what I mean? Like not to a protagonist, I guess. But I get the feeling he could go sort of one step too far in sort of trying to do the right thing.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think, it's so difficult to sort of talk about where I think the character will go, because like I said, we are literally just finding out about him.
Yeah.
But what I can say is I can't wait to see more of him.
No, I agree. So that's Skinner. Tomorrow we'll be looking at Cigarette Smoking Man and also the sort of conspiracy as a whole.
Yeah. The government.
The
man.
Yeah, the man. So we'll pick it up there.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you tomorrow.